Welcome to Binge on Self-Love, a weekly podcast where we discuss everything about binge eating, procrastination, recovery, self-love, and self-acceptance. I'm your host Anna, but you can call me Anci, and every Tuesday I'll cover a topic related to binge eating, procrastination, or self-acceptance. I'll share some of my experience and hopefully encourage you not to give up on the recovery. Make sure to subscribe to Binge on Self-Love podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. For more content on binge eating, self-love, and self-acceptance, visit bingeonselflove.com and follow me on Instagram at bingeonselflove. Disclaimer: Binge on Self-Love podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It doesn't provide a professional medical advice, and it is not a substitute for diagnosis or treatment. Enchanté. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Binge on Self-Love podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so glad you're listening. Today's episode is going to be more like a food for thought, if you will, because it's something that I believe every one of us experienced at some point in our lives, or it may be something you are currently dealing with, or it can even be something you do experience right now, but you don't even know about it. And I'm talking about seeking validation in people, seeking validation in things, and in certain life situations. Seeking validation in the wrong places is something that I'm 100% guilty of, and I'm pretty sure that this topic is relevant to anybody living in today's age for sure. I wanted to cover this topic in this podcast for some time now, but I wasn't really sure how to approach it because I don't want it to come across as that we can never accept a praise or an opinion from someone, or that material things cannot make us happy. But at the same time, I think if we do become dependent on approval of ourselves, our work, our personality, our achievements, and ultimately our happiness, then seeking validation really becomes a problem. I think that appearance and weight are some of the areas in our lives where we most often rely on validation from the outside. So let's get into the episode. Today, I would like to start kind of the unusual way and tell you a little story about myself, where and why I've been seeking validation from the outside. I am a very self-conscious and sensitive person, and to be completely honest, I had zero confidence, zero trust in myself for the most of my life. I would like to believe that I'm doing much better now, but I most certainly have a long way to go. When I say self-conscious, I'm talking about someone who's able to spend a whole day thinking about why this random person on the street looked weird at me and what did I do wrong? Like, do I look weird? Did I do anything wrong? Just to give you an idea of what level of self-conscious I'm talking about. And because I had no confidence and trust in myself, it was very easy for me to seek validation from other people and from external things. And it took me many, many years to realize that and to actually do something about it. When I was dealing with anorexia, it was giving me a false sense of validation, reassurance that I'm doing something right, that I'm finally getting people's attention. And although from my family, my friends, my therapist, I was getting this negative validation that eating disorder is an illness, it is a problem that must be treated, at the same time, I was feeling that by becoming so skinny, I'm finally getting close to the person that I thought people would love. The super skinny, beautiful girl that every boy must like and want. Paradoxically, I wasn't really feeling attractive. I wasn't feeling attractive at all. And I think most people wouldn't find me attractive at that time either because I was just so skinny and unhealthy and self-conscious. But anorexia did give me the feeling of validation. It gave me this feeling that I'm doing something right. The period between anorexia and binge eating at its worst was really one of the most emotional draining and mentally challenging periods in my life so far. I felt disgusted with myself, I was depressed, I was so self-conscious that for months I would only leave the house by car. Even when I went to work, that was literally like 500 meters from where I lived, or when I wanted to go to the store, that was like 200 meters from where I lived. I would go there by car because I was just so terrified of people looking at me in the streets and seeing all the shame and guilt and disgust that I saw in me. And whenever I went to the store, I was terrified I would meet someone and they would see all the junk food that I was buying, and it would be so humiliating. At that time, I was at the uni studying a major I didn't like, and I was working a part-time jobs, and I was procrastinating and binge eating, and I didn't really know who I am, what I want in life, and I didn't understand a single thing about me. I was mostly on my own, so I spent a lot of time on social media. I saw my friends who posted their lives online, and they seemed to be moving forward and making their dreams come true and making true progress and being loved and being happy. And same on social media, where I followed influencers and all those random people who really seemed to be happy. And based on those people, I started to put all these pieces together of what people who are happy, successful, and loved look like, and what things they had, what clothes they wore, how they acted, and I wanted to be more like them. I really hated who I was. I couldn't tell a single thing about me that I liked, and it was not really a good period of my life. And I started to believe that if I dressed like those people and wore makeup like those people, and if I bought the same clothes like them, then people would give me the same reaction and they would validate me as a quote-unquote good person. I never said that to anyone because it's embarrassing, creepy, and super sad. But I spent most of my savings on binge food and on clothes and shitty things that I thought would make me happy, on things that I thought would give me the validation I was searching for. I thought that if I'll wear thigh-high boots, then I'll be as sexy and cool as those people I saw on Instagram. I thought that if I would buy this kind of bikini or this coat or this shirt, or if I would get this haircut or hair color, or if I would act like those girls that I saw people liked, then they would give the same kind of reaction to me. They would give me the same kind of validation. I saw what kind of girls my male friends around me liked and dated, and I thought I must be like them in order to be liked. I never thought that being me was good enough. Maybe not for everybody, but it should have been good enough for me and for one special person. I think this period was really a desperate attempt to get some kind of validation from people. I basically built my self-worth and self-love around people's approval. And people's validation became like a relief to me. It was like, phew, what a relief. I'm not a wrong person after all. On the other hand, I would wear something or say something, and if people's reaction wouldn't be what I expected, I would go get changed, or I would spend the whole evening ruminating on why did I say such a stupid thing and what should I say instead. I remember that many times when me and my friends went to a club, I would literally change my mind like 10 times on the way to the club about what I'm going to wear. Heels or flats, hair up or hair down, jacket or no jacket. I also became such a people pleaser because I just wanted to be liked. I wanted everyone in the world to like me, because if they liked me, it would give me a sense of validation. What validation means is that we rely on somebody else to confirm to us that we are doing a good job. Our achievement is half the achievement, and some special event in our lives is suddenly not so special if other people don't approve it. I think many of us who are active on social media experience this. You post a photo that you feel super confident about, but for some reason it doesn't perform as well as you thought it would. You only get like a few likes or a few comments. And all of a sudden, you start to think and you start to doubt, should I delete it? And just because other people didn't approve, by the way, mostly because they have a billion other posts, photos, and ads in their feeds, you start to question your own decisions, your own self-worth. And I really think that people's opinions shouldn't shape who we are. We should care for opinions of those who we love and respect, and those who love and respect us, such as our family, our closest friends that we know we can trust. But still, we shouldn't let those people affect our self-worth and self-confidence. As cheesy and cringy as it sounds, I really think that sense of self-worth and self-love and self-confidence and trust in yourself must come from within, not from somebody else telling you. A great example of this is when someone tells you how beautiful you are. Most likely you won't believe it. But when someone calls you ugly or fat or stupid, it suddenly makes you question yourself. Like, am I really ugly? Am I really fat? Am I really stupid? Where I see the main problem is that we are either told what a beautiful and happy and successful person looks like, or we have a certain image of such person in our minds that we created ourselves. Sometimes it's the society or people around us who makes us feel pressured that in order to feel beautiful and proud about ourselves, we must fit into a certain box. Other times, it's us who gain this belief simply by searching for something that we feel is missing: love, acceptance, and compassion towards ourselves. So we start searching for ways how to become this beautiful and happy and successful person. And we start searching for validation in different places. We may believe that if we will look a certain way, then we will be beautiful and more people will find us attractive and cool, and we will like ourselves better. So we start seeking validation in our appearance. Similarly, we may come to believe that in order to be beautiful and happy, we must reach a certain number on the scale and have a certain percentage of muscles and body fat and have specific proportions in order to be pretty. I think that our desire to look a certain way and reach the quote-unquote society standard is a great example of what seeking validation makes us do. People lose weight, gain weight, exercise, get plastic surgeries, basically redo themselves in order to feel the sense of validation from someone. If we do it for ourselves, for our health, and from our own belief, then there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But if we change ourselves because we feel like we should in order to fit in a certain box, then there's something very wrong. I think that validation-seeking problem is not an age-dependent issue. I think that anyone at any stage of their life can encounter this. Whether you're a young kid trying to fit in, or a teenager navigating changes, an adult trying to be successful and respected, or a parent trying to be the best parent you can be, or just a human being seeking some kind of recognition. Social media are for sure a huge source for many of us when it comes to seeking validation. Number one, we can only show the best of us. So it can be very hard for people not to like you or not to see the picture perfect of you. Number two, on social media, we can come across as the people we always wanted to be: confident, funny, stylish, cool. And you keep getting the approval and the feeling of reassurance that you're doing a great job and that you're beautiful and successful and popular, interesting and relevant and liked. Likes and comments and the number of followers become a metric on how we validate our self-worth, and equally a metric we use to judge somebody else. Getting just a few likes on a photo of yours make you question your appearance, your style, your hair, whatever. The sad part about social media is that the validation comes from complete strangers, yet we still let them affect us. Building our self-worth and our happiness around such ephemeral things such as our weight, our appearance, clothes, material stuff is a journey that never really ends. You can never really get enough praise from others because the more you get it, the less effective and believable it becomes. In my opinion, what we should do is to stop listening to what others say about who we are and how worthy we are, and start listening to ourselves, who we are deep down, what we truly want to be, who we want to be. You may find that what you want and who you want to be doesn't really correspond to what society tells us. A very important thing in order to break free from seeking validation as the main source of our self-worth and self-confidence is to accept the fact that not everyone will like you and not everyone will agree with you, and that's completely fine. I have always had a really hard time accepting that I won't just click with everybody, and that's fine. Just because you don't really get along with someone, it doesn't make you a bad person. I'm not going to come here and say, just accept yourself and start loving yourself, because it doesn't work like that, and it's not that simple. But I would suggest try to be more kind to yourself. Be aware of moments that make you feel happy. And when you feel proud about yourself, don't be ashamed to tell yourself that you're proud of yourself. And you don't really need a reason to feel that. Just be proud of who you are. I would also say learn to trust yourself again. Deep down, every one of us know what we want. We know our values, what's important for us. But we stopped listening because we felt like we were wrong and we weren't enough. Last but not least, have more compassion with yourself. Building confidence and accepting yourself is not an overnight thing. It takes time and a lot of effort, but it's definitely worth it. That's all I have for this episode. I really hope you find this topic interesting. I think we all seek validation and recognition from people or things from time to time. And there's nothing really wrong with that, but we should be mindful about when this is something within the kind of like healthy range and when it becomes a problem and our only source of self-worth and self-confidence. I'm always happy to hear your feedback, so if you have anything you would like to share regarding this episode or any of the previous ones, or if you have a suggestion for a future episode that you would like me to cover, just send me an email at anci@bingeonselflove.com. Thank you so much for taking your time and for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to Binge on Self-Love podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss any future episodes. You can find more content on binge eating, procrastination, and self-love at bingeonselflove.com and follow me on Instagram at bingeonselflove. Talk to you soon. Bye!